It is the Clemson and South Carolina rivalry call-in show. Now, I don't know how many of you actually want to call in right now. I don't know. I'm not going to put you on the spot. You like how I kind of got lower and leaned into the mic? I'm just having some fun here. Clemson and South Carolina play tomorrow at 12 o'clock on the SEC network. And let's be honest with ourselves. Who cares? I care. If you're a real Clemson fan, you 6-5. No, I do care, and there's just so many moving parts. But what is so interesting is a lot of people absolutely don't care about this ball game. They really don't care about this ball game. I'm talking about the country, and even Clemson and South Carolina fans. I have an interesting story to tell you that happened to me tonight. Running into a South Carolina fan, and we got to talking about the game. I'll tell you about that in just a second. But, hey, if you love Clemson football, even when, they're not doing so well, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel and pass it along. I'm only a few subscribers away from 8,800 subscribers. So if you've never subscribed before, I hope you'll do it. It is free. I'm going to raise my chair here for a second. It's a little low. There we go. It's a little higher there. So, this is actually a call-in show. So if you want to hop on, you don't have to show yourself on camera. You can actually turn your camera off and just treat it like a phone call. I'm actually going to drop this link in the chat, the live chat, right now. So if you want to hop on a call right now and chat with me, please do it. If no one hops on, you know me, I can talk for hours at a time. It's one of my annoying gifts. But no, let's just keep it family friendly. Even if you're from the Gamecocks, let's keep it family friendly. So let's try to not be, say bad stuff. I used to work with a guy and he's like, "What's bad?" And it's like, go say that in front of HR and see how they respond. Yeah, that's very, very interesting. So with that, with that said, tomorrow is a big day for Clemson and South Carolina fans. But this season, it can't be over fast enough. It really can't. South Carolina tomorrow, win or lose, that's their last game. I'm yawning for so. Wow. But yeah, very few people in the Clemson and South Carolina community is really happy about tomorrow. And that's because both teams have done terrible this year. Versus their expectations, they did terrible. And it is it's very interesting because today I spent the majority of my day with a TV on in the background. I work from home. I'm very blessed to work from home. With that said, I had my college football on all day. Had an Ole Miss and Mississippi State and everything going on with Lane. I'm beginning to think Lane may stay at he might stay at LSU, which will be very interesting. That's one. And of course caught Georgia and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech played Georgia a lot better than what I thought they would. The problem is that, man, they committed some crazy penalties at some odd times. North Texas, after their coach says, "Hey, I'm going to go coach at Oklahoma State," but the school's going to let him coach, as far as they'll go. I'm so sorry for yawning. Goodness, that's just hitting me. Forgive me. But I saw them win today. There's a small chance North Texas could get into the college football playoff. I know it's slim, but it's there. It is there. So that was very interesting. Of course, Texas and Texas A&M is going on right now. You have A&M up 10-6. We also have Indiana up 28-3 in the third quarter over Purdue. Everyone saw that coming. If Indiana wins this game, and it looks like they're definitely going to win this game, they'll be 12-0. And that's unbelievable. Going back to Kirk Cignetti and just how well he can coach. Got Grafnar in here. Got He's saying thumbs up, people. Graffinar supports on a monthly basis. Thank you so much for that. Got Dwight Hedden in here. What's up? Got Hamp Redmond. Thanks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Good to see you, my friend. I heard win or lose, there will still be coaching changes on both sides of the ball from Alex Corona. Good to see you, my friend. You can't spell suck without USC. It's good to see you, my friend. Tim Bro's in here. Sellers sees more sacks than a sports physical doctor. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, tomorrow, if Clemson can actually hold on to him, Tim, let me promise you this. That will be the way that Clemson wins. But if he runs free, good grief. If he runs free, good grief. Clemson will lose that ball game. So I just dropped a link in here. And if anyone wants to hop on the call with me, Grafnar, you've hopped on the call before. Go ahead and do that. Chris Rhodes says, we'll be happy if Clemson wins tomorrow, but I will believe they can when the game is over and they are up in the points over SC. Chris Rhodes, it's good to see you in here. So until someone joins me, I'm just going to talk about the game, but I'm actually going to talk about, my experience. Tonight, I went to the grocery store to pick up something, and I walked in, and there was a guy in there. He was wearing a Gamecock hat, had his buggy full of beer, and the store we were at, something happened with their network, so all of their cash registers went down at about the same time, and I felt bad for the workers. I've been in that position before, and so on. That I know I didn't lose it with him. The Gamecock, he didn't lose it with him. He was very understanding. So while we were waiting, it took about 5 minutes or so. We were waiting on the network to come back up. And I saw his Gamecock hat, and I said, hey, what you think about tomorrow's game? He went, He said, the thing is, I said, yeah. I said, it's neither team is too thrilled about tomorrow, the fans and so on. And he said, well, it's because, to clean up what he said, neither team's worth a crap. And he said, no one's talking about it. He said, normally there's talk, and there's no talk about this game whatsoever. And so we had a good laugh there while we waited on the cash registers, the network, whatever it is that they're on, to actually come back up. And, we bid one another farewell. He was a very nice guy. And as I was walking out of there, I thought about that. You're 100% right, grocery store Gamecock. You're 100% right. No one is talking about this game. All day that I had the football games on, big-time games. We're talking about Ole Miss, a team who, if they won today, there was a really good chance they're going to get into the college football playoff. Not one word about Clemson or South Carolina. Georgia and Georgia Tech playing games out the wazoo were mentioned. Big-time games that will be played today. Of course, talking about Texas and Texas A&M. That game's going on as we speak. If you're in the future, just know that the game was going on while I was doing this live stream. They're talking about Ohio State and Michigan. They're talking about other games. They're talking about all these rivalries. Clemson and South Carolina was not mentioned one time. One time. I didn't hear about it during the Texas A&M game. Didn't hear about it then. I heard about how North Texas could possibly make it to the college football playoff. I heard about how Tulane could potentially make it to the college football playoff. Never heard about Clemson or South Carolina playing tomorrow. You know why? Because they both did not meet expectation, not even close. Have people ask me, they'll be like, what are you drinking there? Drinking something fun or anything? It's sparkling water. Really fun there, right? Getting in the comment section while I wait. By the way, I just dropped a link here if you want to get on here and talk with me. I dropped a link in here. You don't have to show your face. They can treat it just like a phone call. I'll drop that link again in the chat up on here. Let's just keep it family friendly. That's all I ask. Let me see. Mr. 2X137, have you looked at any Clemson bowl projections? Yes. Actually, I have. I saw where there's a potential they could play Arizona. I can't remember what bowl it was in. Potential to play Army in a bowl. So, right now there's a lot up in the air. It's interesting. Beamer is slathering Crisco on Sellers as we speak. Adam Watford, you're right. Hamp Redmond, good to see you, Ryan. Good to see you, my buddy. South Carolina and Clemson will be a good day for the state, but that's it. Just the state. Go Tigers. Cody, it's good to see you. It's a bad season when North Texas has higher aspirations than you. What a year. Yeah, it's terrible. It is absolutely terrible. I'll tell you this, Cody. The most exciting game in the state of South Carolina tomorrow will not take place in Columbia. It will take place in Conway, South Carolina. James Madison is playing at Coastal Carolina. And if they win tomorrow, and trust me, I believe they will, they'll go to the Sun Belt Conference Championship. And believe it or not, James Madison could actually end up in a decent bowl game. Can you believe that? The tickets, I've been tracking the tickets for this game for months now because I was thinking about going to the game tomorrow. Not the Clemson and South. After I saw the Clemson and South Carolina were trash, that this season was going to end up being trash, I started following other games. And the tickets for this game, now anybody could go buy tickets for this game right now and get a decent seat. I like Brooks Stadium because it's only 21,000 seats. It's hard to get a bad seat in that stadium. With that said, the ticket prices has went up for this game because James Madison, a lot more is at stake for them. I know Coastal just got the crap beat out of them by South Carolina. We're not talking about the Jamie Chadwell, Grayson McCall when he was healthy, Coastal, but Coastal and JMU is actually the most exciting game in the state of South Carolina tomorrow. Tim Rose in here says, neither team is good enough to win, probably come down to a field goal, the team that makes. I agree with you. And Tim Rowe, I'm pretty sure you saw my my Clemson Carolina prediction video. You see all my videos pretty much. By the way, I saw Mike the other night. Saw Mike at church on Wednesday night. It's always good to talk to Mike. But with that said, I said that this game comes down to who wants to lose the least, right? Who wants to lose the least? And a lot of people don't understand that mentality. It's like, what? It's like, who wants to win the most? Yeah, both of these teams have played so bad this year. And their coaching has been so bad this year that it really comes down to who wants to lose the least. $12 p.m. kickoff. The Hillbillies in Columbia will be eating Birrios for breakfast. Good to see you. Also, just learned that Peter Woods and TJ Parker have a combined 2 sacks on the year. Cody, let me pause right there and talk about a player who will not be playing tomorrow because they got injured. Jaheim Lawson. Jaheim Lawson, every time he's on the field, I want you to notice something. I'm going to take up for Jaheim. Jaheim can't take up for himself. He knows he'll be in the doghouse with the coaching staff, but I'm going to say this to the coaching staff, and I know they could care less what I think, and that's totally fine. Jaheim Lawson, every time that man would do, or that boy, and I mean that, I'm sorry, I'm 43. Somebody who's 19 or 20, I respect him, but I see him as a boy. I have a 19-year-old son. He's a boy. I respect him. He's a boy. Okay? But I've heard some really good things about Jaheim Lawson. I know someone who knows him. I've heard unbelievable things about how good Jaheim Lawson is as a person. Very helpful, very willing. I want to know why Jaheim Lawson was pulled after every good play he pulled this year. I want to know. I want to know. And I'm going to tell you what I think it is. I think they're paying too many people on that offensive line or defensive line. More money than him. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jaheim Lawson has been giving them more than some of the players on that defensive line who's probably making way more money than he is. Notice it. Now, Jaheim's done for the year. I think he broke his ankle. God help him. Hate that for him. We need him tomorrow. He's one of the very few people who seems legitimately excited to put on that Tiger uniform. And he's from the area. He was born and raised a Clemson Tiger. Of course, his brother Shaq played at Clemson, went on to the NFL. But I'm telling you right now, Jaheim Lawson has a motor. And there's jokes about Daniel football players, and I get those jokes. I understand those jokes. Some of those jokes are actually for real. Jaheim Lawson's different. He's not like that friends and family package. That guy, he comes in, he does extremely well. Jaheim Lawson can play football. I want to know why the man, when he was healthy, why was he pulled? Well, the coaches feel that they need to put the best person on the field. Well, the best person on the field is the guy who produces. And every time that guy produced, they pulled him. He'd go sack the quarterback. Well, it's time to pull him out of the game. Really? We've struggled with getting pressure on the quarterback from the front four. And you pull the guy who sacks him. Travis Hamrick. Good to see you, Travis. Good to see you here, man. Been a while. You sent me an email and I never responded. I'm bad with emails. I'm like a 70-year-old with emails. Now, at work, I'm on top of my emails because it's my job. But I admit, with emails and personal and so on, I'm really bad with it. It's good to see you, my dude. Do you think Clemson wanting out of the ACC could be part of how bad Clemson has been this year? No. This is the coaching staff. And everybody, I think this is a good place to part for just a second, Chris Rhodes. I'm answering your question, but I'm going much deeper because I have to clarify. Everyone in sports needs to understand that there are assistant coaches on the football team. We hear the head man. We hear about the head man. We hear about the Sabans and the Rick Pitino's in basketball and I'll stay with football. I'll bounce around to different sports and so on. But we hear about the Sabans and the Urban Meyers and the Kirby Smarts and the Dabo Sweeneys and so on. But there's an entire staff up under them who's making things happen. And so many people become so obsessed with the head that when things start going bad, they forget that there is an entire staff up under the head. Let me put it in this way. Let's say you were sick. Now, this is going to kind of get weird, but just track with me, okay? Let's just say you have a person who is sick. Their body is just, they have just, some type of bad disease or something. And someone comes up with the bright idea, if we just cut the head off and put a new head on it, things will be okay. Because, you always deal with the head first. It's leadership. You take the head off, you put a new head that's healthy on a sick body, and guess what? The head gets sick too. You have bad results. Now, I know that's kind of a weird example. Here's the deal. Everyone is still looking in Clemson, South Carolina at Dabo Sweeney. That Dabo Sweeney's still the head coach, and very few of them are looking at his coaching staff as a whole. They'll talk about the defensive coordinator. They'll go fire a defensive coordinator. We got to get rid of Wes Goodwin. Got to get rid of him. Get rid of Wes Goodwin. Look at him. They call him names and everything. And that entire coaching staff that was under Wes Goodwin, talking about all those position coaches, still there. Still there. Offense, except for Matt Luke, still there. Matt Luke was a really good hire. All the other, still there. And so here's the deal. That's the problem at Clemson right now. Everybody is looking at Dabo Swinney and going, well, he won 2 national championships and he had 6 consecutive playoffs. And that entire coaching staff that was under him, that he could trust them to get him to the next level is not this coaching staff. And that's why a lot of fans in Clemson cannot understand what is going on right now. So, no, I don't believe that the whole ACC thing has even a little bit to do with it. Good question. I'm so dumbfounded at the fall off of those two. It turned into minor league football, man. How many points do you think Clemson has to score to win? My dad, Chris, has been a longtime fan of the show. Can he get a shout out? The hassle. Well, hello, Dad. I don't know Dad's name, but what's up, Dad? The Hassle Sack. The Hassle Sack show. I just want to say, Chris. Chris is his name. Sorry, I overlooked that. Please forgive me. Chris, thanks for watching the show. I really do appreciate you watching the show and checking it out. And of course, I'd be happy to give you a shout out. Thanks for watching the show, dude. I really appreciate it. And it's a pleasure that you'd watch my show so much. It means a lot to me. Good thing there's going to be coaching changes at the end of the year, win or lose. Alex Corona, I'm not sure about that. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a peek into one of my newest videos that will be coming up. I'm not so sure about that. Clemson fans don't want to hear that. There is something that does not make sense right now. And I have this feeling that something's not right. Manning just threw a touchdown. So what the score is? 13-10 Texas. A&M needs to win out. Do you realize if A&M wins out, not only would they be undefeated, obviously they'll be undefeated in their conference. If they lose, they've dropped into like a 4-team tie with one loss. And I'd like to see A&M win out. I'd really like to see A&M win out. I think that it would be awesome. Mike Elko, what he's doing down there is just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. It's okay. It's not your job. I'm still a fan. It's good to see you, my man. DC Mayo, agree with Lawson point. Can't wait to finally see Mayo. Unfortunately, Lawson had to get hurt for his opportunity. Here's the thing. When you start losing ball games, I don't care what level you're at, you start losing ball games and you have players who are more excited than other players, you have to get those excited players. If they have talent, you have to get them on the field. Why? Because if you do, they're going to produce for you. I've coached Little League football before, and I'm going to tell you this. I've had some kids that will blow you away. I've had a few players that I can think of right off the bat who would absolutely blow you away. And then I've had some kids that they were not maybe as athletic, so to speak, or maybe have as much experience as this kid who obviously can play and was just unbelievable. But they were excited. And believe it or not, you could get just as much, if not more, production out of them. A lot of times more production out of them than the kid who was naturally talented. And you could just see, this kid's naturally talented, and they this, that, and the other. But this other kid was excited. It was so excited to be on the field and had some ability, but they worked really hard. Man, you get so much more out of them. And that's the thing that I look at with Jaheim Lawson. Jaheim Lawson, had he not been benched after he did something good, this guy's numbers would be astronomical. And Mayo's very, very talented. Mayo was a big recruit coming out of high school. Anybody know why Randall didn't run much last week? I don't know. I really don't know. And at this point, Grafnar, I don't understand what's going on. Period. Like I just don't. Mr. 2X137. It was so eye-opening. Me watching Georgia's O-line today, the biggest thing was just the effort. I don't know, man. You can tell that they're coached so well. Great coaching is so important. I watched the Georgia game, and I'm going to tell you this. Georgia did not play an amazing game. They didn't. I wasn't sitting there going, wow, this is the best Georgia team I've ever seen in my entire life. You are right. They're very physical. And that's the thing about Clemson. They're not physical. Clemson is far from physical. And I just don't know how Clemson fans, itching here, I don't know how Clemson fans who sat through the Deshaun Watson, even the Kelly Bryant, and the Trevor Lawrence era, watch that incredible football they play, offensively and defensively, and could actually take up for what we're seeing week in and week out. Either you're drunk, or you weren't there, or you're delusional. Clemson is not, they're not physical. They are not physical. But when I watch these other teams play, teams I don't even like, I'm sitting there going, I don't even like these guys. I hate that I'm seeing this out of them, and they're more physical than Clemson. It explains a lot. It's not coordinators or position coaches. No, it's even worse than that. It's the development coaches. They are inexperienced and not fit to coach Clemson players. We have a development issue at Clemson, big time. I want to tell everyone this. I want you to listen to me. You don't have to listen to me. You can stick your fingers in your ears and go la 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 la. But Kirk Cignetti at Indiana is about to go 12-0 at Indiana. Now let's knock some things out of the common rebuttals to Kirk Cignetti being at a specific school. Let's knock some of those rebuttals that I hear about with other schools that you can't apply to Indiana. You can't apply to. Well, they've got a massive budget. Really? No. Like Texas, who's lost 3 games, and Sark is trying to say, even if we win against A&M, we should be in the college football playoff. No, you shouldn't. You've lost 3 ball games. One of them was to Florida. And Georgia just beat the color out of your jersey. So you shouldn't even be allowed to drive by the college football playoff. They shouldn't even let you fly over. Texas has more money than about any other team other than Ohio State in all of college football. They've lost 3 ball games. I think you heard me say that just a second ago. They don't look amazing. Kirk Cignetti, on the other hand, he is at a football team that is historically bad. Awful. Year 2, they don't have the budget. Right now, they're winning 42-3. Yeah, it's over Purdue, but you know what? They're beating a bad team bad, and they're about to go 12-0. He knows how to find talent. He knows how to find players that he can develop. His staff has that sense of, oh, that guy fits us, or we can scheme for that guy. Mendoza, the guy who's tearing it up for them at quarterback, he was at Cal last year, and he was not blowing the world off its feet. He wasn't. This guy's a front runner for the Heisman Trophy, and his team's about to be 12-0. You have to have a coaching staff. I don't care if we're talking about Clemson or anyone else who wants to be serious. You need to understand that you have to have coaches who can figure out who's actually good in the transfer portal, because you can transfer portal it up, baby, and still be terrible. Lane Kiffin is really good at going to the transfer portal and finding the proper talent. The guy who led him the vast majority of this season after Austin Simmons, the really good quarterback, went down. What's his name? Trinidad Chambliss? I thought it was Chambly, but I'm pretty sure it's Chambliss. Forgive me if I'm wrong there. He doesn't care if I mispronounce his name. He just cares that I look and say, this guy is unbelievable, and he was playing D2 football last year. How did Lane Kiffin and his staff figure out we should go after that guy? Out of all the D2 schools, I mean, you have to go through D1, you have to go through FCS, then you get to D2. How did that? It's called the ability to assess talent. Not everyone has it. Again, Texas has more money than they know what to do with. And they've lost 3 ball games this year. You can't win them all. Well, when you're paying that much, you better darn well do it. When you're looking at someone like Indiana, who's somehow finding out how to do it, when you're looking at Vanderbilt, and they're somehow figuring out how to do it, when you look at Mike Elko, now they have a lot of money. A&M has a lot of money. Elko's in year 2, not year 5, not year 7. And even if he loses tonight, yeah, that would be bad for A&M. They're still in the college football playoff. They only have 1 loss. Even if they lose tonight, they only have 1 loss. Can you believe that? Year 2. It's crazy, ain't it? Meanwhile, throughout college football, you're having people beg for more money. These guys know how to spot talent. Get back into the comments section. By the way, I'm dropping this line back in here. If no one wants to call in, it's totally fine. You know me. I'll read comments and I'll run my mouth. I can do that all day long. Oh, my goodness. Let me see. Dabo has made hiring decisions without thinking them through, or it certainly looks that way. Tiger Tom. Here's my philosophy on Coach Swinney, and I've said this over and over. I'm not even going there. I'm trying to lay off of talking about it. I've talked about it so much that I'm tired of talking about it. I don't want Dabo fired, and I'm leaving it to that. And I know that's not what you were saying. Austin Burrell, a lot of people want Garrett Riley gone, but what I wonder is if his offensive scheme would work with coaches who have experience like Matt Luke. That's a very good question, Austin Burrell. I'm not going to bat for that too terribly hard because I've seen him out coached at times, but it does raise a question. If he had a better offensive staff under him, what would we see? That's a very good question, Austin. Hasselsack, since the Bobby days. Oh, Lord. Bobby has a new video out. Well, he had a new video out a couple of weeks ago. Bobby may show up after tomorrow, win or lose. You never know. Tell him I said hello. That's what I heard from an insider. I hope you're right. Alex. Eddie Blackburn, hey, Brian, I love your channel as SC fan because you are straight up. Good luck tomorrow. We will see how it goes. Thank you, Eddie Blackburn. I think both of us are just absolutely not good. And either way, oh, man. I agree we need coaching staff that can bring the best of the players have to the offer, but with them trying to lead the ACC, they still have gone downfield. The best football I ever watched was a Little League game the kids played with all their hearts and came out with some fantastic plays. Oh, yeah, I've seen some really good games. No one messes with the dew. Trying to figure out what you're saying, my man. I want this Canada cold out of South Carolina down here at the lake, 30 degrees. Man, it was up here in the upstate last night. I want to say it got down to about what? 26 where I live. So I still haven't turned the heat on at my house because, even last week it got warmer. I woke up, it was 59 degrees in my house, and I went, uh-oh. I went downstairs and ended up firing up the fireplace. Justin, it's good to see you. Tim, Dabo is known for his loyalty. I guess we will see where that loyalty lies at season's end. And I'm going to tell you this, Tim. I think that's a really good point. I think for us Clemson fans, we're thinking a lot about after tomorrow's game, win or lose, right? I don't think it's going to be after tomorrow. I think it's going to be after whatever bowl game Clemson gets invited to, you know. And I think that is going to make things much tougher for us Clemson fans. I think that's going to be rough. And the only way for this to be over any faster, the hiatus of figuring out what's going to happen with coaches will be, and I don't think between you and I and everyone who's watching, I don't think there's going to be many changes. We may have one sacrificial lamb that we get rid of to show that we're serious about football, but you're still going to have that coaching staff, and I'm sorry, it's not cutting it. This coaching staff, here I go. I'm not going to go too deep in on it, but this coaching staff is responsible. The vast majority of the position coaches and so on are responsible for what we have seen happen over the past 5 years. So, I don't think we're going to see the changes we need to see. It's crazy cold now. No one messes with the dew. It's a line from Ace Ventura pops into my head every time I hear Purdue mention. Oh, okay. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Ace Ventura. Me and my associate, Mr. Marino. You remember that line? Grafnor? Oh, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, again, it truly, truly bothers me. It truly bothers me that Clemson, at least Clemson, you know, saying, let's say South Carolina had a really terrible season, but Clemson was living up to expectation. And, you know, they're going into the game and everybody's talking about, oh, Clemson's just got to get past their rivalry game, but man, they should beat the crap out of South Carolina. That would be an awesome place to be in, you know? It's not that way. It is not that way. And I've had some fans say to me, hey, listen, yeah, I mean, we're just not seeing it. We are just not seeing it. And it's tough. It's tough as a Clemson fan to sit here. But yeah, right. I mean, I'm looking at the scores right now. It looks like Texas is about to score again. This is going to be crazy if they beat A&M. It's going to be crazy if they beat A&M because that'll be A&M's first loss of the season, but it's also a conference loss, and that'll create a 4-way tie in the SEC. That will be nuts. That will be crazy. Just for anyone in here that's just watching and trying to, all righty then. God, I love it. Jim Carrey is one of the funniest individuals ever. Very interesting individual. Looking at games for tomorrow. If you have not checked out my new channel, Another College Football Podcast, go check it out. I'm this close to 500 subscribers, like very, very close. So even if you're like, I don't know if I want to check out the channel, but I like your Clemson stuff. If you will, you just go over there and subscribe to get me to 500 subscribers. Oh man. Yeah, I started that channel before the football season and yeah, go check it out. With all of that said, let's talk about some of the games tomorrow. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm yelling. I'm going to get going here in a second. But I do want to talk about tomorrow. If you're like me, I love college football. Of course, I love Clemson. And there are people out there, their cup of tea is just Clemson. Okay. And I get that. All right. I love college football. I love what's left of the tradition. It's nostalgic for me, even though I know that a lot of it is gone. And then some of that was just a facade. It's kind of like remembering things years ago and you romanticize it and it wasn't actually as good as it was, but there's some stuff that actually was that good. I don't have a dog, a Buckeye, or a Wolverine in this fight, but of course, Michigan and Ohio State are getting together at Michigan, 12 o'clock tomorrow on Fox. Ohio State, of course, number one, 11-0. We have Michigan 9-2, quietly 9-2. They ended up paying the best quarterback coming out of high school last year, Bryce Underwood, to decommit from LSU, come to Michigan. They're 9-2. Quietly, I say that because you're not really hearing about them that much until now. Will they beat Ohio State another year? It's crazy. Here's another thing for you. Big Ten football. Right now, you have only 2 undefeated teams in the Big Ten. Want to take a wild guess who they are? Ohio State and Indiana. Indiana's going to win. They've beat the crap out of Purdue. It was like, don't mess this up. You'll have a 12-0 season. If Ohio State loses this game, now I don't know all the math. I need to get my buddy Eric Boggs from the College Huddle and the OHIO podcast. I always say the Ohio podcast, as he likes to say with my accent and everything. Maybe he knows the math. If Ohio State were to lose tomorrow, would they be out? What would be the deciding factor? I think a lot of times it goes to like how many offensive points you've scored, and then if it's still close or the same amount, then you go to defensive. Anyway, Ohio State and Michigan tomorrow, 12 o'clock on Fox. That's a massive one. You got to watch that one. Texas Tech. This is not a big game for a lot of us, but they are 10-1. Spent a lot of money on their roster. They're playing at West Virginia, 4-7, 12 o'clock tomorrow. Texas Tech, if they win this ball game, they're 11-1, and pretty sure they're in their conference championship. Let's take a look. Miami and Pittsburgh, a very interesting game. Now, you have to remember there's a bunch of teams in the ACC, and I'm going to get in here. I want to look at this. This is absolutely nuts. Virginia, 6-1 in the conference. Now, I'm not doing overalls. I'm talking about conference here. Virginia, 6-1. Pittsburgh, 6-1. SMU, 6-1. Right? 3 of those games, or 3 teams with 1 loss. If Miami were to beat Pittsburgh tomorrow, that would give them loss number 2. Then it would come down to Virginia and SMU. Let's look at who Virginia's playing tomorrow. They're playing Virginia Tech. That plays in their favor like a lot, right? SMU, who are they playing tomorrow? Well, SMU's playing California, and unless they go lay a golden turd, it would be SMU and Virginia in the ACC championship. Now, if all 3 of those teams were to lose, then it gets really interesting because you would have a bunch of teams with 2 losses. In addition to those teams I named out, it would be Georgia Tech, Miami, and Duke. And then you would have to go to one of these crazy, deciding factors of, who's doing what and so on, who scored this many points, who scored with the wind blowing in the southeast and something like that. But here's the deal. It's really interesting to see this season shake out and who is at the top. I mean, again, Virginia, Pittsburgh, SMU. I really hate how Georgia Tech has kind of fell off. I really do hate that. And considering the season they had last year, counting the bowl game, they were 7-6? They're 9-3 right now. So they've still improved that. And if they go to a bowl, and they will go to a bowl, and they win the bowl, that'll be 10-3. Brent Key has done very, very well. It's just how they played all season. But I will tell you this, as we watched Georgia Tech play, we saw them play some close games they should have never played. And it tipped the hat to maybe, just maybe, they still have some fallacies in their program that if they do not fix, it's going to catch up with them, and it did. It did. In fact, they could have lost today, but had they not lost last week, there was a great chance they were going to be in the ACC championship. Is that crazy or what? That's crazy. And so I know that in In Atlanta, they have to be feeling pretty rough right now, but they still did very well. Hop into a couple of more games. Let me see. For tomorrow, UCF. Scott Frost, this is his first year doing the whole rerun, meaning a coach who's returned to a school they used to coach at. And remember, up at West Virginia, they have former Clemson offensive coordinator, former West Virginia, former Michigan, former Arizona State, or not Arizona State, former Arizona, former Jacksonville State coach Rich Rodriguez. He's in his first year of the rerun at West Virginia. They're 4-7. UCF, they're 5-6. They're playing at BYU. BYU's 10-1. 10-1, folks. Can they finish strong and can they find their footing into the college football playoff? We have Oregon 10-1 at 8-3 Washington. A lot of rumors are swirling about Washington's head coach Jedd Fisch. Now, this guy, this is his second year at Washington. He replaced Kalen DeBoer. Very big shoes to fill up there. This guy was doing unbelievable at Arizona. And then he leaves. There's rumors that his family is very unhappy in Seattle, Washington, and that he could be looking for a way out. I will tell you, I don't know how true that is, but I will tell you this. Jedd Fisch can coach. He can coach. So I'm going to leave that there. But that'll be interesting to see how they do against Oregon. Oregon's number 6 in the country, only lost Indiana. And that was at home for Oregon. Indiana came and beat them by 10 points. Didn't play a perfect game. And still. Let's get back in here and look at the. Okay. LSU and Oklahoma. Our former defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, 9-2, ranked number 8 right now. He wins this game tomorrow. He'll be 10-2 overall. I fully believe that Oklahoma will be in the college football playoff. And they're playing LSU, who's 7-4. Remember that massive game Clemson was playing against LSU and everything? LSU's 7-4. I told LSU fans that I was not blown away by their team. No matter what happened with Clemson, I was not blown away by their football team. And I had not all LSU fans, but most of them, come back with some of the greatest arrogance I've ever heard in my entire life. That's one thing about LSU. If they win a coin toss, they run their mouth more than anyone I've ever encountered in my life. And that includes Georgia fans. That's pretty hard to beat. Well, it's confidence. No, it's called conceit. It's one thing when you can produce. You can't produce. LSU fans, most of you are so arrogant, it's enjoyable to watch you to go 7-4 right now. You fired your coach. And there was one person who kept leaving me messages on go back and look at my LSU videos back in August when it was leading up to the LSU game. Seriously, if you want to click out of my video right now and go look at it, or duplicate your screen right now, especially if you're on a laptop, and go look at my videos, I want you to go find the comments, and you're going to see one particular individual under the screen name Wizard, username Wizard something. And they would write me a book about how great Brian Kelly was. So much to the point that I felt like it was a burner for someone on the staff. By the way, that stuff happens. That does happen. Y'all think that that's conspiracy theory. Listen, by this point in life, if you haven't realized that most conspiracy theories are actually true, and that's the reason people pull them off, because they know that, I'm too educated to believe that would ever happen. Yeah, they're banking on that. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people who actually believe that. There's actually coaching staffs and people working in athletic departments who creates what's called burners. They're fake accounts so they can take up for themselves. Celebrities do this. This is very common. And I am almost convinced that was someone on the LSU staff taking up for Brian Kelly. I'm not saying Brian Kelly did it. I believe someone on their staff did it. Maybe it was somebody in his family. I don't know. Here's what I do know. It was eerie, some of the things that they would say, and the things that they would write for, like a small novel, every comment. And it was statistics based things that just real about. Go look at it. Go look at it. I'm serious. I am begging you. Click out of this video and go through my live videos and my pre-recorded videos and look at the comment section. It will bother you. I believe I truly believe that someone on that staff was going out and doing that. I'm looking at our recruiting right now, and I'm really concerned that we don't seem to have any RBs coming in, especially with Randall leaving. That's Grafnar. It's very interesting. Hard take. Good to see you, buddy. I had a girlfriend at the time that was a real fine woman that was a SC fan. Well, I still showed her after the games. That's spelled wrong. Okay. Alan, that is period of time that shall not be spoken of. Oh, when they were losing, yeah. The only conspiracy, yeah, I'm sorry. I've read too much stuff about that. I don't believe that he did. I'm sorry. Here's one of the things I look at with people who are supposedly narcissists. Narcissists won't harm themselves. I'm going to leave that right there. If you love yourself so much, you won't. So anyway, I know I just lost some people. Oh, you really think? No, I don't believe that. I know it was just so arrogant for him to believe such. Good to see you, my man. Let me look in here. Let me see. Vanderbilt and Tennessee, very interesting game. Vanderbilt 5-2, 9-2 overall. If they win tomorrow in Knoxville, they'll get win number 10. Tennessee already has 3 losses, 3 in conference, which is pretty bad for them. I'm seeing Tennessee win this game, but Vanderbilt's. Listen to me, Tennessee fans. This is not your regular Vanderbilt. This is not your regular Vanderbilt. So, if you're expecting your regular Vanderbilt to show up that you get to make fun of and everything, this is not it. And I'll tell you this: I've watched Tennessee's defense, and we can talk about injuries and everything, but I'm more concerned with their scheme. I don't think that Tennessee has the defensive scheme to compete at a high level. And I think that is the lid on Josh Heupel's success. It is. And he's going to have to make some tough decisions. And if he doesn't make those tough decisions, Tennessee, you will be a 9-10 win season, maybe 11 here and there. You'll never win the national championship. Does that mean I need to fire Josh Heupel? No, it doesn't. It means Josh Heupel needs to make some tough decisions. It needs to make some very tough decisions. And I don't think your defensive scheme is there. And I'm going to leave that there. Oh, man. Who else? VT and UVA, all you need to do, focus. By the way, have you seen how many recruits James Franklin is flipping? I'm talking about 4- and 5-star, 4-star players mainly. He is flipping from Penn State to Virginia Tech. That could be a problem. Well, it's just a couple. It's a couple more than what they had. They go to the transfer portal and they find some of the right players. Virginia Tech didn't say they were going to win the national championship. Didn't say they were going to the college football playoff. I just said they're going to go from being bad to solid overnight. If you're UVA, you have a chance at 10 wins. Focus, focus, focus. Have Alabama at Auburn, 9 wins, 2 losses. Focus. Auburn is not Auburn. They're 5-6. They don't know who they're going to hire for a head coach that I know of. Did I miss that somewhere? Could have. I don't lose sleep over Auburn. Alabama, just focus. You'll be 10-2 and probably in the college football playoff. Tulane, 9-2. A lot of people believing that if they win, and they should against Charlotte, that if they win, and they win their conference, they'll be in the college football playoff. And John Summerall is one of the hottest names in college football right now. Their head coach has had a meteoric rise. Sorry, my ear is itching here. He's had a meteoric rise. I'm going to take this out because no one has clicked on the link, or if they have, I've overlooked it. I'm just going to go ahead and take these out because nobody's calling in. I don't think I'm going to take a call. But who was I talking about? Let me go back here. I'll remember. Yeah, Tulane. John Summerall has had a meteoric rise in the coaching ranks. Ranks. Florida could very well hire him. Auburn could very well hire him. Just a second ago, I mentioned SMU. SMU is going to play Cal. That's a big one. I want to look at who Tulane will play in the conference championship. Let's see. They're in Atlantic. So is it Tulane and potentially North Texas? Will play either 22nd ranked Tulane or Navy for the conference title on next Friday. Tulane will host the conference championship game next Friday with a victory over Charlotte. Otherwise, the Mean Green will be at home against Navy. So, okay, this is making more sense now. So North Texas, they're already done. They're 11-1, 7-1 in the conference. If Tulane wins against Charlotte tomorrow, Charlotte's bad. They're terrible. Sorry, Charlotte. They will play North Texas, and the game will be at Tulane. If Tulane somehow loses, they'll play Navy. And it will be next Friday, December the 5th, 8 o'clock on ABC. I'm telling you this, with everything that's went on in college football, and especially with our football teams not looking good, Clemson not looking good, I'm going to enjoy watching what I believe will be North Texas and Tulane. The Heartache is calling me out on my phrase. Meteoric rise has always been confusing to me because we normally see meteors falling to the earth. It's a strange metaphor. Yes, you are right. Now you're going to make me rethink every word I say. Thanks, Hardtake. Dadgummit. Oh, my goodness. It's funny. Let's get in here and check that Texas score. Okay. A&M has the ball at Texas 13, 9.5 minutes left. They're down by 10 points. They can definitely win this ball game. They just have to score a touchdown now. Scoring a field goal, okay, but scoring a touchdown right now would be massive. Hope A&M wins. And Indiana's beating the snot out of Purdue. You're like, who cares? Indiana, I'm telling you, I enjoy watching Indiana play. I enjoy watching Cignetti. Cignetti and Clark Lee, they are putting the pin. They are the nightmare to these big programs who are like, and then programs that's right below the big programs. I'm talking about as far as being able to spend a lot of money on NIL. They are a nightmare to that philosophy. We have to put more money in the football program. Well, why? Well, if we sacrifice more money to the football gods, we'll be really, really good. Yes and no. First and foremost, can your football team actually coach? I'm talking about your staff as a whole. And that's where at Clemson we have a problem. We still got Dabo. Who is coaching under Dabo? Clemson fans don't want to hear that. Clemson fans don't want to hear that. Clemson fans, they don't want to entertain that whatsoever. There lies the problem. Kirk Cignetti has a staff that has followed him because they believe in him. And the reason they are about to go 12-0 and go to the conference championship next week and go to the college football playoff for a second year in a row, and they are historically awful. They're not bad at football. They've been historically awful at football. And now they're going for a second year in a row to the college football playoff. Is not because they have more money than Texas and Ohio State. It's because they started with coaching. And that's what I'm trying to get across to any and everyone. Clark Lee up at Vanderbilt. He did it. They're looking at potentially flipping a 5-star right now from like Georgia to Vandy. So it's not just going to a transfer portal and getting an older college football player who's been playing at another school or two, and now they're going to come play for you. No. And by the way, even if that is the way it works out, he was hired. His job is to win football games, and as long as he's doing it ethically, his job is to win football games. Clark Lee's job, that is his number one job. And he's doing it. And he has a historically even worse football team than Indiana. And they don't have the money of A&M or Texas or Florida or LSU or Ohio State. But you know what? They're a nightmare. Why? Coaching. That includes development. That includes looking at potential players in high school that they know they're not going to get the 4 or 5-star, but they can get the 2-star. And they see something in them. They go, oh, we can develop that guy. That guy, he has it, whatever it is. He has it, and he's going to start burning guys. Oh, he'll be destroying guys that are 5-stars. We can get him. That's part of coaching, folks. That's part of the whole package. By the way, A&M just scored. They're down 20-17. 9 minutes left. A lot of time left. A lot of time left. So I'm going to say this. There's a lot of coaches across the board who is walking up to a podium and they're telling everyone we need more money. They're going to their donors. We need more money. Clark Lee and Signetti, they have taken pens. No, I'm wrong. They haven't taken pens. They have taken spears and ran it through that balloon and went, maybe, just maybe, you should get better at figuring out who's a good prospect, and then you should get better at developing them, and you should get better at scheming for them. Maybe that's it, because any person can waddle up to a podium and beg for more money. Oh, Lord. I find it very interesting, by the way, that Chris Denson got hurt this week in practice. A lot of people's not talking about that near as much. I, in fact, wanted to do it, I wanted to do a video this week and talk about it, because of Thanksgiving and everything else going on, I really didn't get to do it. But with all that said, Chris Denson got hurt this week. And I was going to do a video, and I was thinking about naming it something like, when it rains, it pours, or we can't have anything nice. It's just so interesting. The guy comes out, and I know it was against Furman and all that stuff. I did a video on that, but he really did very well, considering the other two guys in between, he and Cade, didn't do so well against Furman. Same Furman team. They were tired then. He comes out, scores 2 touchdowns in a drive, 4 of 4, and has over 100 yards rushing, matches the longest rush by anyone on the team in that game, and then he gets hurt. It's crazy. Chris Denson should be moved up the depth chart to number 2 this week and take it week by week from now on, and then decide if we want to go to the portal for a quarterback. And yes, I still would, and get a good one. I don't blame you there, hard take. I don't believe they're going to go to the portal, and I'm going to tell you this, Chris Denson will not be the starter next year. He will not do it. He will not be the starter. And I'm not saying that in a rebuttal to you. I'm not saying that in an offensive or defensive way towards you. I'm saying that in the sense of Sweeney's not going to start him. And I'm going to tell everybody this right now. You better beg to God that Lane Kiffin does not take over LSU. Because if he takes over LSU and we have to play them next year, and we do in Baton Rouge, at the rate this football, with all the talent that this football team will be losing, yes, even with the result that it has for this season, that Clemson will be losing. And then I don't believe the coaching changes are going to happen. Do not be shocked if Lane Kiffin goes out of his way to royally humiliate Clemson next year. And I'm going to tell you this, there's going to be people jumping off the back of Death Valley who right now are who are coming on here to attempt to humiliate me, intimidate me, say some horrible things to me about my opinion on the team. And I'm going to tell you, those will be the most distraught and the most confused and the most caught off guard. Lane Kiffin, you better be hoping that Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss and doesn't go to LSU, because I'll guarantee you, unless something crazy happens, he'll drop 50 on Clemson and beat their brains in next year, and Clemson Nation will not know what to do with itself. Not 1 second will know what to do with itself. Because most of Clemson fans are still living in about 2018. They are. And I also want to make this comment. It's just late in the video. Very few people are going to see this. If you're in here tonight, hey, by the way, I'm very close to 8,800 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, just check, make sure it is free. I hope you'll subscribe. It get me over 8,800. I do appreciate it. I'm 5 from 8,800. So if you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll subscribe. With all of that said, Lane would love to humiliate Clemson. And I hate to tell you, no matter your opinion on Lane Kiffin, he's a really good coach. And he can scheme out the wazoo. And he found a quarterback in D2 that is leading his team who looks like a machine right now. His staff is that good at figuring out talent, who is talented. And they go and they get them too. Lane is another one who is humiliating a lot of schools right now because he's at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has never had this much consecutive success in their entire flipping life. You would have to go back to that coach. I can't remember his name, but he coached between 1947 and 1970. He was there for 23 years, gave them the most success that they ever had, ever. And Lane still has more consecutive 10-win seasons than that guy did. That's saying a lot. And so I said that on my other program, and a few Ole Miss fans got offended by it. But I'm sorry, Lane Kiffin is the reason you can poke your chest out and act like you're a really good football team, because you haven't been. Lane Kiffin did make you, whether you want to believe it or not. Lane Kiffin is the man, whether you like him or not. Lane Kiffin, if he has LSU next year and Clemson plays them and there's no significant changes, Clemson will be embarrassed, kind of like they were back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, you can go ahead and take that to the bank. And I warned you. Oh, man. I've warned you about a lot. And unfortunately, a lot of it's come true. And I'm going to tell you this. There's times I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I'm tired of telling people what bad's about to happen. I'm sick and tired of it. But I'd have to lie to you. A lot of people's talking about Jeff Scott trying to come back. Jeff Scott will not be coming back. Jeff Scott's building houses on Lake QE. He seems to be happy. Our coaching staff, especially offense, needs an overhaul. Feel like we have a lot of great tools, but they're only as good as the hands using them. Very well said. I'm not political, but we should have the Doge team come to Clemson. Wonder what they would find. I think that they would step back and they would say, "We need experience. We need experience." And you know, scrolling on down, Mississippi coach, Lane Kiffin. Lane. I'm trying to figure out here. Think about Grafnar. I think Vault was the name Grafnar. I think it was. He actually had some really. That was the most success that consistently for a long period of time overall that Mississippi actually had. So there we go. Well, folks, let me tell you this. I came on here. I was saying, hey, this is going to be a call-in show. A call-in show. No one called in, so I just sat on here, ran my mouth, and answered some of the questions here. Listen, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, Clemson, South Carolina. It's just a questionable game. If I were the betting kind, by the way, I don't bet on sports. I think it's dumb. With that said, if I were a betting man, I would not touch this game with a 100-foot pole. Both of these teams can, at one moment, have some really bright spots to where you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We would have turned the corner. And then they fumble the football. So, the only good that can come out of this game is that either team that wins could step back and say, hey, even when we were bad, we still beat you. That's pretty much the only good thing that could come out of it for either team. But South Carolina, their season's over tomorrow. Clemson, if they win tomorrow, they'll go 7-5, but they're going to go to a bowl game that transparently the Clemson fan base has not been used to this poor of a bowl game for 15 years. They have not been, Clemson has not been used to this poor of a bowl game in many years. And for anyone who is about to say you're spoiled, where is your competitive nature? Where is your competitive nature? You can't win a national championship every year, but losing 5 ball games with this schedule? Meanwhile, our former defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, had the toughest schedule in college football. It was a mix between him and Florida. It had the toughest schedule in college football. I'm talking about strength of schedule. It was unreal. And he only has 2 losses. And people are looking at him going, he's turned it around. He looks unbelievable. You mean you're sitting there watching that, folks? Let me tell you this. For some of you, I can tell what excuses you regurgitate. You get on your forums. You sit around with some of your buddies at work, and y'all, it's like a turd flowing around the toilet. You come up with some of your best rebuttals. Come on here and type it in. You have no thought for what you're saying. Now, I have to stop and think. There's times I get off of my videos and I'll go back and listen to some of it, just see, how was the sound quality? Did I present this better, this, that, and the other? And I'll disagree with myself. But there's one thing I will tell you. I agree with you 100%. You cannot win a national championship every year, but 5 games, and with this schedule, I would retire that one for this one. Oh, this is an outlier. This is not for 2 seasons in a row. Before this, Clemson lost 4 ball games. 2 or 3 seasons in a row before that? 3 ball games. Now you're up to 5 losses? You're not very good at looking at trends, are you? I hope your job is not to look at trends. And folks, trends matter. Trends matter. Trends tells you a lot about your football team. And I also found this out about Clemson football fans. Not all of them, because I've got some good ones in here. And we don't have to agree on everything. But I will tell you this right now, Clemson fans have always made a living off of making fun of South Carolina fans with all their excuses. And I'm going to have to tell you right now, Clemson fans, you're beating them with excuses you're making about what's going on. I've used this about 3 times already, but to me, it just represents it so well. I said it earlier on a video I did this morning. I'm going to say it again. Clemson fans making excuses for why the football team is not up to snuff, they have more excuses than a 13-year-old who snuck out of his house to go smoke with his buddies in the high school restroom. Yeah. Sums it up well. Sums it up perfectly, in fact. It's embarrassing. The winning mentality in Clemson, South Carolina is gone. It's gone. I'm talking about right down to the fans. I'm not talking about what the drunk co-eds in the sorority and the fraternities are screaming out. I'm not talking about them. And Nicholas Powell, you said, not you and I, Bobby. I've ripped the team consistently. And I know that, but I know that from you. And a lot of the people who watches my channel religiously, you're not like that either. But folks, I'm going to tell you, you want to see something scary? And you go, no, that's the reason I don't do it. No, it's a good temperature. It's a good way to take a temperature of the program. Go look on Instagram at some of these major Clemson football pages. Go on some of the major Clemson forums, and you're going to see more people making these excuses I'm talking about. That's the reason. That's part of the reason. It's crazy. Texas just throwing interceptions, what everyone's saying. Texas just threw an interception? I see Texas is up 27-17. I was hoping A&M would win it because I think that would make – I don't want to see Texas get in with 3 losses. There's no reason Texas should be in right now. And that would really annoy me to see them get in. No offense, Longhorns. It's just you've lost 3 ball games. There's better teams out there. But excuse me. Well, folks, listen to this. I will tomorrow. I will be talking. I will have my pregame show for the South Carolina Palmetto Bowl. Palmetto Bowl. Oh, A&M threw the interception. Okay. But the game kicks off it kicks off at 12 tomorrow on the SEC network. I will have a pregame show. I don't know exactly when I'll start that, but of course, halftime report and postgame, Lord willing, as long as something crazy doesn't happen, and be talking about it. I think this weekend is going to stir up a lot of emotions for Clemson, according to how tomorrow's game goes. Even with a win, it could stir up some emotions that I'm afraid could be bad for us in the long term. There's a lot of people not thinking in the long term. I found out that a lot of people are more short term than long term. They don't think things out. They don't think it out at all. Midlands Directory, one of my buddies who one of the people who supported the channel for a very, very long time, he's emailed me. He's a good dude. He said this yesterday, and it ticked off a fan. It ticked off a fan who's more fair weather, not fair weather. They're more, they pull for Clemson, and they don't question really anything with the coaches. And he said, hey, if Clemson lost a certain amount of games and it finally forced the hand, only for it to turn things back around to a national championship mindset, I would take a loss tomorrow if that turned things around in the long run. And someone came in and smarted off to him or rebutted him, said, how dare you say you would hope Clemson loses? That's not really a fan. And he turned around and Midlands Directory posed this question, said, this is a yes or no question. If tomorrow Clemson lost, But with that loss, it turned things around for the next 10 years and they won championships again. Would you hope there's a loss tomorrow? Yes or no? Last I saw, there was no answer. And there's some people who's like, well, I want to win tomorrow and there be changes. Folks, that's not where we're at with this program right now. Sorry, we've passed that point. We are past that point. So anyway, well, folks, y'all take care of yourself. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. I hope y'all have a good